How's it going, guys? Welcome to Audio Addiction. We have To Michigan with Love. You can say his name, what he does, all that jazz.
Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is James Taylor, not the other James Taylor. I sing, I play guitar. I basically did everything on the album with my friend Joey in To Michigan with Love. And yeah, I'm super stoked to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem, James. As you know, we are probably going to get so many comments where people are going to be like, you guys are definitely brothers, and we most likely could be. So the first question I have for you, James, I'm sure you get asked this a lot around, but, you know, how did the band start out? You know, obviously, I know we're working with, some friends of yours to get this project, off the start, but, what was kind of your initial thoughts, starting off the project and like getting it going?
Sure. So I was watching, basically I was in a band with the guy that helped produce my record, and my roommate, who's my best friend, who's going to play drums live. He's actually on tour right now doing pictures for a band you interviewed called Mercy.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So he just left like a couple hours ago. But I played bass for a band called Along the Way for them. And we were like a pop punk band, like straight, like we were like Hot Mulligan, Knuckle Puck before they ever even around.
Okay.
I coined that sound, but that broke up, and we tried doing other bands. And like I'm in Virginia. Tyler moved to Philly for a bit. Joey moved to Nashville. Our drummer just like was working and stuff, so I didn't really have a band. I never really. I love singing my whole life. I've loved singing. It's honestly the greatest I ever feel, like ever. But I was always, people didn't really like think I was that good. So I started practicing a ton.
Sure.
I worked at Guitar Center. I was lessons manager there, and I had some instructors who taught me some basics. I started getting more confident, and then COVID hit, and I just started writing songs. And then my buddy Joey in Nashville moved back to Ashburn, and we recorded an album together. Now he moved back to Nashville, so the next record, I don't know what's gonna happen. He might have to move back, but yeah, I just started writing songs, and I wrote like. I wrote like a short story during COVID.
Very cool.
I always wanted to be a writer. So I wrote like a book, and then I kind of thought that concept could be better suited for an album. So To Michigan with Love started. It's a concept.
Very cool.
It's about a bunch of stuff, but yeah.
That's awesome. Like, I feel kind of in the same vein. Like, I'm always trying to like realize my ideology of like starting a band. Like, obviously I interview a lot of bands and stuff like that, and I do love that a ton. But there's always been in my head like playing guitar, and like I picked up a bass over quarantine, and I'm like, man, I should just really just actually start like fleshing out songs. So I gotta give you a lot of credit, because I feel like that is a monumental task that I feel like a lot of people have taken on during the pandemic, and obviously best of luck going further. Do you feel like after the pop punk project, did you want to just kind of musically go in a completely different direction from what like the pop punk styling, or like what was your thought process with kind of with this new project?
Yeah, well, like I said, pop punk kind of runs in my blood. I was raised in New Jersey, which is like everyone's like man overboard, I call fives, and I was like I gotta get on this. Growing up, I was really into like everything. Music's my favorite thing in the world. I listen to a new album every day. Like every day, I try to listen to something new I haven't heard of yet. But hip hop's a big one. Like Wu-Tang Clan's like probably my favorite group ever. All sorts of stuff, man. I can't really put into a genre what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted it to not be just that like a pop punk guy forever.
Sure.
I felt like people kind of pigeonhole people into genres a lot, which we do it to ourselves. But I think it's kind of it's hard just to say like one thing. Where a lot of pop punk on the record, but also a lot of like some post-hardcore. Bob Dylan's my biggest influence, like James Taylor, all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of acoustic-based songs with like some pop punk around it, also some soul, some funk, hopefully, just a little bit of everything.
Nice. I honestly, it's funny that you mentioned you grew up in New Jersey. I also grew up in New Jersey, so we might have been.
Yeah. What part of New Jersey? You a South Jersey boy or North Jersey? If you say Central Jersey, man, I might end the interview.
I guess it kind of is. I used to live in Bordentown. That was the town I used to live in. So kind of like, I guess, more northern. I don't really know how to describe it. It's very much in the like gray area of New Jersey. So, but I loved living there, and now I'm out in Pennsylvania. But
gotcha.
But I kind of feel the same way where, like people tell me they're like, oh man, what do you listen to? Like, what are you about? And I'm like, I would love to have everything on. There's nothing that really feels off base except for, low key, not a big fan of country, but if there's something that works, I'll be more than glad to give it an honest listen. But it's interesting to see, like, at least from your perspective of just trying to pull from a lot of different genres and stuff. So I gotta give you a lot of appreciation for that.
I appreciate that.
It's tough to, I feel like it's tough to kind of like say you listen to everything and then to kind of back that up, but I feel like
without like rolling your eyes because everyone says
but I feel
everything
like,
but country.
but country, and it's an asterisk. But I feel like with you, like, definitely you do definitely run the gambit of different genres. So it's cool to hear that. Obviously, went on the Spotify, listened to the latest single, and I thought it was really cool. And obviously, you guys have a new album going to be released in the fall and stuff like that. How long of a process has this been, James? From like obviously you released the single out now. How long has that process been of writing those songs? Because I imagine during the pandemic, a lot of people had a lot of time, so I don't know if that was during that time period or they've kind of been over the years that you've been in, other bands and other projects.
Yeah, well, I mean, COVID was brutal for everyone. I actually wasn't, really doing much when COVID hit. I was already kind of in my head space, working a job I didn't love that much. And I was like, I need to start writing music again. The album was done a year ago, July 3rd.
Oh, wow.
Joey and I finished up the project, but he was moving back to Nashville because this guy Joey is Joey Bircham, shout out. He's the best producer, one of the best friends I've ever had. He's a little blonde boy. I call him my Draco Malfoy. But incredible songwriter, man. He really just brought my stuff to life. But we demoed stuff in his parents' basement, almost 2 years ago at this point. I had like all these ideas. I probably went in with like 25 ideas, and most of them turned into like merge into each other for the most part. But it took some time. Man, I was hoping to have this album out a year ago, to be honest.
Sure. Yeah.
But money's a thing. Unfortunately, man, like Wu-Tang said, cash flows everything around me. But I was broke for a long time, man. I finally took the plunge and left the job I didn't like. Around a year ago, my car broke down. And I was working 2 jobs, which was like the worst. So I couldn't focus on music as much. I almost shelved the project. I was like, no one's gonna like it. It's not gonna come out. The friends pushed me, and then eventually, here we are. I was like, let's do it. Here's the money, Joey. Let's roll the album out.
I feel that like we always talk about like the music being the main focal point in the projects that are done, but a lot of the times I feel like people suffer that product of like I really want my art to be out there, but like in order for that art to be out there, sometimes it does require that amount of money to record it, to mix it, to master it, to do all that stuff. And if you don't know someone that is talented like your friend Joey to like really help you out with that, or like or people that will maybe help you cut a break or something like that, it can be very difficult. So obviously I always got to give you love for doing the project and continuing to press on, because I feel like it can be a difficult thing. I can feel that very much to doing YouTube. Like it kind of intervenes in your life sometimes, where it can be a really good thing, but also sometimes it's like maybe it's not something I'm really feeling that day, and that's totally fine. But I think at the end of the day, like if you aren't, I always tell myself with doing the YouTube thing, like I want to make sure that at the end of the day I've crossed every street, dotted every T, like crossed every T, dotted every I, and like gone out of my way to do whatever I can to like do what I can for the channel. And so I've obviously it feels like you've done what you can and all that you can do for To Michigan with Love. So obviously best blessings going further with the band.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. I think the big thing for me was kind of being like, my girlfriend on my a year ago, she said something to me where I was feeling really anxious, like really just like anxious about it, feeling like it was never going to do anything.
Sure.
And she was like, I think you have to set the expectations, because I think you could reach thousands. And I kind of like, I took a little offense to that. I was like, I thought she was saying I couldn't make it like, as like a pop star or like a rock star. But really what she was saying, which I think really is ringing true to me now that the single came out, is I'm not trying to reach everyone in the world. I'm trying to reach people that feel the same way I do.
Sure.
And really like relate to the music. And I don't really care if I'm like, I think a perfect example of that is like the band The Maine. They have like their community and such a beautiful community that like, you know, I'm a little jealous of, but like that's kind of what I think musicians should strive for more, is like not trying to be Olivia Rodrigo or, you know, like Drake. It's just doing like making that community, because if you have that community, you can put wherever you want out. You can take risks and you'll have that core fan base or people that want to hear more and can like, you know, it's a slap on the wrist if the record's not great, but you can keep putting out music for years because you have those fans, those friends.
Yeah, there's a level of dedication to your fan base, you know, like I find that very similarly again to what I do here. It's like, you know, there are people that, you know, are dedicated to what I make and what I put out. And listen, I as someone who didn't expect anything to come from this YouTube channel, I am very grateful, humbled, always appreciative of the people that email me, like much like yourself, and people that watch my, you know, interviews and stuff. You know, it's a very gratifying feeling. I can imagine it's very similarly to, you know, music and stuff. And I will leave obvious links to go check out, you know, James's band To Michigan With Love, because you need to do that. But the next question, James, I have for you is, you know, we kind of alluded to, you know, some of the influences that you know, draw from, but like, you know, more specifically for To Michigan With Love, is there any specific bands that you kind of drew from in that time period when you were writing the music?
I mean, there's definitely a ton. I had something pretty cool happen last week where I tweeted Anthony Green from Circa Survive, my favorite band in the world. I can't tilt it, but I have all these Circa things. But he like retweeted it, and I got some people listening, which was like really cool, because he's like probably my idol, to be honest. I think I owe my life to Anthony Green at some point.
I agree.
Actually, I do have a story later. I watched your one interview when you saw them with Balance and Composure. I actually have a funny story about that, because that guy that was on that interview with a couple, like 2 months ago, I walked out of my room and there's this band crashed in my family room, and my roommate was playing a show with someone, and it was that band. It was a High Wind, and I didn't know them or anything.
Well, very cool.
I didn't know them at all, but they were awesome. They were playing Tetris. I bought them all donuts and coffees. They gave me batteries. It was really cool. But then I watched the interview that you did with them pretty recently, and their drummer, I have some beef. He spent like 5 minutes talking shit on Comcast. So I gotta say, man, you know, make a plug. I work for Xfinity. I work for Comcast.
Oh no!
So if I knew he had some beef, I might have kicked him out of the crib. But no, but they were awesome guys, and that's kind of what brought me to your channel, which is really cool.
I appreciate that, because funnily enough, I was gonna ask you that, because I always, as someone who has been doing this for a very long time, I'm always curious where people happen to find like me and what I do. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Dan re-upped and was talking shit about Comcast in the live video we did.
Yeah.
So Dan, I feel like, you know, you and James have to square off now. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he still got the service, so he's still making me money. No, but they were awesome guys. He gave me batteries and everything like that. I felt kind of bad. I was trying to give him money. He's like, "You let me crash here," and I'm like, "Yeah, man, of course." But like, I just walked out my room and saw like 6 dudes like just in the fam room. I'm like, this is cool. But they were awesome guys. I didn't get to see them that day. They were playing with my friend Zach, who my roommate plays drums for, Zach Benson, another awesome guy. But they were really cool. Was looking on the internet, saw that you talked to them. I'm like, I recognize these guys, and I binged a lot of your stuff, but I had to stop myself because I didn't want to spoil the questions.
Honestly, if you did, that's fine too. I'm just enamored that you went the extra mile to go check it out, so I do appreciate it.
Oh, man, I, for like, you know, not to say call you a product, but I believe if you're going to reach out for help for anything, you got to believe in the service or believe in the thing. Like, I'm not just going to, like, ask any band to play shows with. I'm not going to, I mean, I'm honored that you're taking time to talk to me, but
of course.
I only reached out to people I thought were really cool, and, like, I like the vibe, and I was like, we could be brothers.
We are starting today.
Brothers, brothers in rock and roll.
Right now, yeah, starting right now. Me and James are brothers, but yeah, no, it's crazy. I think I've said this a couple different times on, God, I don't even know how many episodes, but it it blows my mind consistently that there is this like great network of people that, you know, come to just like either find out about my channel or however they do find out about it. Like, it's wild. And then the second thing is like, it's so cool to like know that there's other people out there, like, you know, even unintentionally are just like, hey, this guy seems real cool, like I'll message them. And like for me, that's like still from day one to day X, I don't even know what, you know, however long this continues to go for. Like, it's always something really cool to have people just like reach out to me and be like, man, love your content, like would love to be a part of the channel. And that like that always warms my heart. So I wanted to, you know, again mention that I appreciate that a lot. I get it so much, and I try to get back to everybody that I can get back to, and so I will, from, you know, now, I mean, even prior to this, but now to whenever I'm done with this, like I want to try to take as many bands that are willing to, you know, go the extra mile, check out what I do, and then message me and be like, man, like your content a lot, would love to be a part of it, because I'll always take it. It's just so
man.
That's
what it's all about.
Yeah. And it's like a large family, you know what I mean? Like there's plenty of bands that I'm sure you've watched that you're like, man, these guys are great, and then you wind up finding an interview that we did, and then that blows my mind. Like, it's just consistently something cool that I think it'll never not surprise me and never not excite me to continue doing this. So I do appreciate
man. Well, that warms my heart to hear, man, because I just love people that are passionate about their stuff. I think, you know, passion unfortunately doesn't really pay the bills, but it's what keeps everything running. And I respect anyone that puts in the effort and everything. So I appreciate you for what you do, man.
But I also want to piggyback on that Anthony Green thing. That was so cool. I did see it on your Instagram, and I just thought, man, you know, Anthony Green, one of the most wholesome individuals on the face
genuine
of the earth,
dudes,
the most genuine dude. But also that, like, it's just cool that he had taken the time to listen to, you know, your music and obviously give you some critiques on it, and obviously pass his fan base off to you a little bit in that aspect. It must be an enamoring feeling to, you know, obviously, like as you mentioned earlier, for Anthony to be your idol and just like to message you. I have to ask, like, when you saw the retweet and then he, you know, obviously commented on it, like, what were your emotions? I'm sure they were just like, you're like, oh my god, I gotta frame it, I gotta get a t-shirt, like the screenshot on it, you know?
Oh man, it was probably worse than that. So I keep my Twitter, like I keep notifications off because I'm addicted to, I'm, you know, subject to addiction, and like I get hooked on anything. I get hooked on just like biting my nails. So I got cut off on the internet at some point. So I turned notifications off, and I remember I was sitting on my couch with my other roommate, and we were watching Spy Family. We were watching anime together.
Yeah. All right.
And I paused it. It was like the last episode. I paused it. I'm like, Anthony Green just listened to my song, and my roommate's like freaking out, and he doesn't know who Anthony Green is. He forgot, I guess.
Oh my god.
But I'm like, he actually like listens to the song. Like I don't even care if he liked it. He like, you know, he said he was proud that I put myself out there.
Yeah.
And you know, I went a little ballsy with it. I was like, yo, man, my dream's to like open a show for you one day. He liked it, but you know, that is like one of my goals. I want to, you know, share that magic with him because he's inspired me so much.
Yeah.
But I was honestly, at first, I'm going to be honest, I was a little scared. I was kind of like, oh man, his fan base might listen. They might like not like it. I don't have like, you know, a high tenor voice like Anthony, but people were messaging me and like following me. Like I said, it wasn't like I wasn't famous overnight, but I had like people that I couldn't probably reach normally.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
You know, like reach out to me. I had people message me, some people saying that it sounded like Balancing Composure or like Hot Mulligan or Modern Baseball, all through like big influences. And it was a really magical moment where I kind of felt validated, where, you know, before that it was only my friends, my close circle listening to the song. Like I said, I don't have like thousands of listeners yet, but I checked it like earlier today, and I have like 250 monthly listeners across, which I never thought I would get off a week. It's been like a week and 2 days.
Yeah.
Since a nobody just put out like a song. I didn't have a video. I just put out a song, and it was just really cool, man. It was just you know, it really opened a lot of doors for me. Whether he knows it or not, it helps me get my confidence up for sure.
Yeah, and I think for like, even when people message me about emails or like, you know, much like yourself where you're like, please check my band out, like I whether or not I have them on the channel, which I mean usually 9 times out of 10 it does end up that way, but I feel like as an interviewer it's my duty to check your music out and to like give you a critique on it, whether or not like it's something that I vibe with or not. Like I think the best thing about doing these interviews or doing something in relation to what I do here, audio addiction, like my intention isn't to be like, yo, this sucks, you fucking suck, you can't do this. Like, I think that has always been like my sticking point on like music in general, is that if I don't get it, like that's on me. Like it's not, I'm not vibing with it. Doesn't mean that somebody else that watches my channel regularly might actually enjoy. So I think that the thing is that music is very subjective. You can like it, you can hate it, whatever it is, it's that's up to you. But I feel like as an interviewer it's my job to be a little bit more transparent and say like, okay, I didn't personally like it, but I want to be able to help this person out and reach other people that maybe they might actually enjoy it. So then that's my kind of ploy to help people get further along in their musical career, and obviously hope that people go check out your music and message you and say like, hey, I actually really enjoy this, or hey, maybe this might work better for you. Like my whole thing is being positive about the way that you explain it to someone, because music is very emotional, it's very emotion driven. Like and sometimes it comes from the heart, very much, especially within this genre, it does come from the heart. And so you want to kind of make that in a way where you're not gonna like take a shit on someone for like saying their emotions, right? Like that was my whole thought. So I try to listen to it, give my critique, say like, this is really great, I really did enjoy the single, and I'm excited for the rest of the record, because I'm very much I like to listen to front to back record.
Dude, same here, man. Albums are the way we're supposed to listen to music.
blessed. I knew James, we were brothers. But that's the way that I go about listening to it. So I always, like, when people send me singles, they're like, oh, well, let me know what you think about it. And I'm like, well, do you have like an EP, or like, is this a part of an album? Like, where are we at on this? And they're like, oh, it's just a single. And I was like, I think it's very good for a single, certainly, but I would love to see where
the context,
where the context is, because I think sometimes singles, you can kind of get lost in that, where it's just like, okay, this is one singular thing, as opposed to like if it's an EP, like you have multiple songs in between that point, or if it's an album, obviously it's longer. But yeah, I kind of, that's my whole goal, is trying to spread that positivity about bands, and trying to just get people to listen to, first and foremost. Like if you like it, I'm gonna let you decide that. That's not my decision, No, I mean, I'm just leading awesome. You to the water,
Yeah, I mean, I personally think like you can make the weirdest stuff out there. I had a buddy that just like recorded fuzz, and like people like what they like, man. Sure. And if I like what I like, if I like what I make, someone else will like it. It's that community thing. I'm just trying to find people with like-mindedness. And hearing you with albums, I'll give you a little sneak peek eventually. But that's like my biggest thing is records, man. Like records saved my life. Sure. I know it's dramatic, but like I love the full story. I love we kind of glance over it, but like Radiohead's a big band for me. Yeah. Bob Dylan, like anything that tells like a cohesive story for a record. That's kind of like probably my biggest influence, just like a collective piece of work. And I'm glad you like the single, but like I hope you like it more with the album, because the story I'm trying to tell is, it's not like anything groundbreaking, but it means a lot to me. And, I think it's a really good cohesive piece that has like 3 different kind of vibes to it. So I'm really excited for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to obviously leave links in the description and go give it a listen. But I think that, I've always said this about music, and I'll, re-up on what I said about it. But I think that it doesn't matter, like somebody could have the same exact situation that you've been through and then write a song about it and have it that way. But I've always found that with music, you could probably write the same exact song, but it could be told from multiple different perspectives. And so I think that you could listen to a song that might sound familiar to your single, and it might, people might attribute those things to that single, but I think when there's personal influence and there's personal things that happen within your life, then I think that really changes the game, certainly. And love the single, But I'm really hoping that
Thank you.
I'm really hoping for obviously the context, and that's what if there was any critiques I could give, is that I'd love to hear more of the context behind the single, and then obviously the full album at its peak, because I think sometimes when you release a single, it's like one puzzle piece, and you still have a puzzle to fill out. So I love doing that. That's like my whole that's my
reminded, man.
I think we froze a little bit.
Oh no, I think we're good now. Can you hear me?
Yes, we're back.
All right, yeah. No, it's all good, man. Oh man, I swear to God, if I see high wind in the comments saying spin the internet, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Dan's gonna be like, see that's Comcast karma, baby. But
yeah, man. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
No, go ahead, go.
Oh yeah, I was the record's just I basically like what you said about different perspectives. I try to make every song almost sound like it's about a relationship, but this album is not about a relationship at all. It's definitely kind of about just it's a sad record, but it's very hopeful at the end of it. And movies are my favorite thing. I try to write almost kind of like a plot, but just sneak peek. It's just about it's about my past. It's about two characters, past me and future me, and then I guess three and present me. And it kind of gets blurred together throughout the record, where the current me is kind of losing my mind. And that's just kind of the concept of it. It's just kind of like a mind mess with mind record. And it took me a lot to finally put it into words, man, because writing lyrics takes some time. But I'm really proud of it, and thank you for love on the single, man, because it was a debate which song I should put out, man, and I'm glad I put that one out.
You'll have to let me know which ones you were also sitting on that possibly were singles or thought of you. But we'll obviously talk about that down the line. But the next question I have for you, James, obviously you mentioned earlier in the pod about listening to a different album every day. So I gotta ask, what are you currently listening to? What are your daily jams? You can't tell me what album you're gonna be listening to tomorrow or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Sure.
I'm curious what you're vibing with right now.
Yeah, I started the year off. I was posting it on Instagram every day, but it kind of burnt me out. I felt like I was doing it more for the internet than myself. So I kind of stopped after March. But mainly, I started off with a lot of some older records that kind of seep past me. I listened to basically every record by Arcade Fire, because I only knew a couple of them.
Okay.
And it was great. I listened to new stuff as it came out. My buddy Mark, he is listening to Bad Omens and a bunch of bands I'm not a big fan of. But I gave him a chance. I like Bad Omens record surprised me. It was pretty good.
Okay.
But I listened to I try to listen to something in every genre. Today I listened to a record by a band called Hum. That was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah, I love the shoegaze vibe, man. And let me pull up the Spotify because I'll tell you everything.
There you go.
Actually, I'm getting. I recently listened to this record was on my radar for a bit, but got taken off Spotify for a while. A band called No Devotion.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Yeah, which Jeff Rickley from Thursday, and I was shocked that he was doing what I kind of want to do, which is the Brit pop, Cranberries kind of vibe, the Smiths kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to hear Jeff Rickley, who I have a Thursday poster up here too.
I saw that earlier, on the Instagram. Yeah. I know.
It's hard to it's really cool to hear him in a completely different light.
Sure.
And that song Permanent Sunlight, that synth part kind of blew me away. Or my girlfriend is playing synth live, I was like, this is the tone we need.
Cool. Yeah.
I was like, this is the tone that we need for the live shows. And yeah, just a lot of different things. I've opened my mind up to country this year because I kind of did the same thing where I kind of was everything but country. I realized I don't like the American country, the drink my beer, hang out with my dog,
okay.
But I like a lot of the grassroots. I like a lot of the ideas of country, and I'm a folk boy myself. So
yeah.
I know Bob Dylan's not exactly country, but I listened to every Bob Dylan record this year. I listened to every single David Bowie record this year probably 3 times.
Oh, nice. Okay.
David Bowie to me was just above his time. I still don't think we fully get David Bowie, even though he's huge. I think years from now we'll be like, okay, we get it. But,
we get it now. Yeah.
He's been a big idea. He's been big on me making a concept for this record. Obviously, I'm not painting my face or anything like that, but I'm making my own shirts, and I'm trying to make a character for the live shows.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It's a
What about you,
vibe
man? What have
setter.
you been listening to?
Oh man, I did talk about this. I don't know if it was yesterday when I recorded one, but um, just today I went to go drop my partner off with her sisters. So I was listening to Greyhaven's most current record, and that
So good.
somebody asked me about the yesterday, and they were like, "What have what's your albums of the year so far?" And I'm like, "That is a very loaded question, but I would say." Yeah, the Greyhaven record I've been listening to a ton. The new Drugs record I've been listening to an absolute ton. I love Craig Owens. He's fantastic.
Took me by surprise, to be honest. I listened to that the other day, and I was
Yeah.
like, I really think I would have liked it more like a couple years ago, but I was
Sure.
like, this is really just like a well put together piece of work.
I think I think the best thing about it was that I think for him specifically, he is, to me at least, a very timeless artist where I'm like, it doesn't matter what project he is in, he like keeps very true to his sound, and I appreciate that as an artist. So so I would say I really have been digging that a ton. Trying to think what else other than those two. Honestly, when I edit, I just listen to a lot of lo-fi. Mostly it's just like video game lo-fi because I'm just a huge gamer. So I mostly listen to that just because it's easy to just throw on and like enjoy. I'm trying to think what else beyond that. I would say I'll give an honorable mention. Been listening to a lot of Gold Necklace. It's
Kurt Travis?
Kurt Travis's band. That is phenomenal. Also, Royal Coda just released 2 new tracks, I believe, a couple days ago. So I've been trying to like just branch out and listen to a bunch of different stuff. But I'll double down on my answer about country from earlier. I'm very similar to you, James, where I don't like modern country music, but like you give me like a classic like country artist, like grassroots kind of that sort of stuff, like I'm about it, because there's a level of honesty that I feel like a lot of artists, like I can resonate with that certainly, but I modern country can't jive with. Like if you told me like listen to some some Kenny Chesney, I'd be like, nope, not happening. Sorry.
No, yeah, man. I definitely like.
Nope.
I don't think I realized like how like big like country is run by this country. Like I watched for the first time in like 10 years. I watched the season of American Idol, and there were some talented kids. Like I'm like, it's not really my type, but there's some of these like kids that are younger than me that were blowing me away with how good they were. But a country artist who had like, he was great. The guy that won, he had like he didn't have a lot of experience, but he was like a white country dude. He took the show, and I didn't realize that like this country, and the second place winner was a country girl. And I looked up, last winner was country.
It's wild, isn't it?
And it's just like I guess I didn't realize that shift. It just like kind of like, I guess people watching that show is country music. But to American Idol, YouTube introduced me one of my favorite artists called Scary Pool Party.
Ooh,
and you should check him out. He came in second like a couple years ago, but he is the best thing to ever happen from those shows. His first album sounds like 9 Inch Nails.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
that's totally different from what I would imagine American Idol fandom to be. I'd either imagine them to be like totally top 40s pop, like what you expect, and then like country artists. I feel like there's always been that like some person within the top 5 that has some sort of like country roots of some sort, which is whatever, that's fine. If you like that, that's your thing. I'm not gonna mess with your vibe, but like
you like what you like.
You like what you like, certainly, but I have to agree with you. Like there's, I think, I don't know, somebody can have to quote me on that, but in terms of like the last couple years, I feel like there's been a lot of like either people that were country that won, or like were at least in the top 5, certainly, because it feels like that, like you said, it's very prevalent. Like there are people that just like, I could hear like the same 5 contestants and they all have that like nice baritone like country voice, and I'm like, yo, you guys sound good, but like y'all sound exactly the same. So if you had put those songs side by side, I wouldn't be able to tell a difference. Like that's how bad it is.
I get that.
It's so bad. And then you got the people that write the songs that are very much like, yo, we could write about like America, could write about trucks. We could write about beer. Tractors,
man, and that's the stuff that like kind of like I don't want to say gets on my nerves, but I feel like as soon as we stick too much to a formula is when we kind of sell a little bit of our soul.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's good to like I'm very much like I hate like not to like get canceled, but like steal a structure from a song I like and then maybe an idea from another song and like I'll like be influenced by it. But as soon as you like write on a whiteboard like A, B, you're losing a little bit of it. Where it's good to have that structure, but sometimes you just gotta like not care if the song is gonna sell out a lot of money.
Yeah, it can't be written on the context of like, okay, well, will this make us a lot of money? And I understand that the platform of American Idol is very much, any sort of reality music show is very much in that lane, which is,
it's soul crushing to watch, man.
It's so crushing to watch as someone who interviews like, smaller, like, very niche bands. It is very difficult to watch that. Like, most people love that shit, and that's great. But it would be great if some of that portion of people were converted to like alternative and like that genre of music, because it would be great. I mentioned it in a previous like episode where I was like, I can't stand MGK as an artist, but I will say as an ambassador for like alternative music, like you have to figure that person is influencing younger generations to go check out that stuff. Very similarly to like Metallica and like obviously them influencing people to check out metal music. Like those are all great things, don't get me wrong, and you can't
keep the scene.
You can't keep the scene, and that's great. That's fine. I'm totally on board with that. But I hope that it allows people to check out bands like your band or like other bands that are very obscure that people on a daily probably wouldn't listen to. You know what I mean? Like somebody that's
absolutely
in the mainstream that enjoys that sort of stuff. So I hope that as many people of that crowd gets converted over to like alt music, because that'd be great.
It's crazy. People like almost don't want to see their favorite band succeed. Like I was thinking back to like when Black Flag quote unquote made it, and they were called fake punks and stuff. But they're the most punk thing out there. Like MGK, I'm not like a fan really. I think he needs to shut up and stay off the internet sometimes. But
sure.
He's bringing back a genre of music that I might not like the new style of it, but he's making pop punk cool again. I do think I think he is taking a lot of the wrong side of punk. Like I think he's not putting over like what punk was for me. He's kind of making it a little more mainstream, but that kind of goes to what we were saying. We can't really gatekeep it. So he's doing great. There's a lot of bands that are doing that sound now, and it's really cool to see the scene I grew up with in a different kind of light. And we can't, as we get older, we can't be like the music was better back when we were kids, because honestly, it probably wasn't. It's just different now.
That's true. Honestly, people tell me why do I listen to like the types of music I listen to, and that's what I enjoy. And you got to live your life. So.
I mean, like I love the Beatles, man. Like they're one of my favorites. I love the Beatles, and they have some great songs. But I don't think like they have anything that made me cry. Like "I'm Letting Go" by Circus 5 has made me cry, or like it's different strokes, different folks, but there's always something out there for everyone. So I see music.
I got you, James. Listen, we're brothers. I'm feeling
hell yeah.
But the next question I have for you, James, is a fun one. If you could pick a song to cover, what would it be?
Okay, I'm gonna promote my album a little bit because there's a cover on the album.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna talk about gatekeeping stuff, but I absolutely, and you can ask any of my friends, have had a strong hatred for Coldplay. I hate Coldplay with every fiber of my being, and it's unrational. I think at this point it's almost like I hate them because I've said I hated them for so long.
And it's now just part of the psyche. I got you.
Okay. Yeah, but like I've always been like personality trait. James hates Coldplay. I covered a Coldplay song on my album actually.
What? Oh my God! He doubled down. I gotta give you kudos for that. For hating a band, and you're just like, I hate them so much that I need to cover one of their songs.
I need to do my version of it, because I will say, like, I respect the songwriting. I think their songs are beautiful. I think they have some good stuff. It's just not my thing. Coldplay's not my thing, so I hate Coldplay, almost pretty aesthetic. But I talked to Joey about wanting to do a cover, and he was like, let's do Yellow by Coldplay. By the way, this is the first time the public's gonna know it's Yellow by Coldplay on the record. But we just sat down one day. We were kind of stumped. I didn't really like the ideas I had for some other songs. I pitched a cover. We drafted something on just like a MIDI keyboard, and then Joey and I, we made this guitar part that sounds like Pink Floyd. It's amazing. It's very open, cool. And it's a very dark version of this song. But I made it my own, and it's on the album. So, Chris Martin, if you hear this, suck it. I think my version's better. But I'm really proud of it, man. It's a good song that I kind of made my own, and everyone, when they hear it that knows me, is going to be like, why'd you cover a band you hate?
Everybody at Chris Martin. No, okay, please don't do that. I ain't trying to get under the cancel bus, but
they got the BTS army on their side now too, so we'd be double dead.
That's I will say, for me at least, doing this channel, that is a first where someone like absolutely hates a band and then just thought, it'd be cool, why don't I cover one of their songs and make it better, so yeah. Kudos, James, first of all.
Heck yeah, man.
Gotta give props to that, because that's rad. Yeah. Secondly, I am not a fan of most current Coldplay, but like the first couple albums that they've done, that was just kind of like a part of my, my childhood of listening to just like radio music, and I was just like, I've always kind of like enjoyed what they've done early on. Obviously not a fan of most current work, which is totally fine, but their old stuff definitely enjoy. And so Yellow, obviously has a lot of popularity to it, but also like I'm curious to hear your take on it, because I think it could be due for like an emo kind of like darker version of the song, certainly.
Yeah, there's a lot of covers of it. So like that guy, and I urge you to check him out, Alejandro Aranda, Scary Pool Party on American Idol, I think he changed a lot of things for people, because his audition is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. But I saw a video of him doing a version of Yellow by Coldplay, and it was so different. Yeah. But I was like, I can do it even different, like more different. For a while, a lot of my friends were saying I should go for that more emo rap sound. More of like the Shinigami kind of like Nothing Nowhere vibe. Yeah. And I kind of like didn't like. I respect the music; it's cool. It's not really my thing. I think it's a trend. And I'm not trying to jump on trends, but that version, my version of Coldplay, is the closest I get to that more emo rap kind of darker side. Okay. Yeah, which I kind of take a little bit of offense. It's Joey's favorite song on the record. I kind of want him to like my songs, but we brought a whole new vibe to it, and I think I made it my own song, though. And I think that's really, not to pat myself on the back, when someone makes a cover of their own, I have all the respect.
Oh, well, we're in the same brothers. We're in the same boat. I'm very much the same way. Like, I think if you can convince me to like a song that I already like in your style, big ups. That's like
every album, man, is going to be a song I don't like. It's probably going to be Maroon 5 next album.
Well, best of luck, James, because I feel like that is a very difficult task to not only put yourself through, but also to actually say, like, I'm going to put this on future records. There's going to be at least one song of a band that I don't like, and I'm going to cover it, and you're definitely going to like my version more than the original. That takes some balls. That takes some
three things. Three things about To Michigan of Love I will never compromise on. I will always be putting out records. I might put out an EP, but the end game is always going to be an album. I'm not going to be dropping singles. I'm going to be putting out EP. Like, I'll put out singles, but it's not just going to be one song. It's going to be in mind for an album or an EP. I'm always going to put a cover of a song I don't like on there every single time. And I'm probably going to do like a water parks and dye my hair a different color every single album, because it's about to be yellow for the video.
There we go. Well, listen. If you got to come back to this video now, James, every time just to get a little bit, get that re-up next album. But that to do something like that is very impressive. So I gotta give you massive kudos, because that is, I feel like, if I was an artist, I would not want to cover a song that I hated. So to double down on that, not only like as you're saying it, but also in a video that is going to be online for all of eternity. I gotta.
No, man, I stick with my stuff, man. I will say, like, as long as like the artist isn't like Dill and kids are doing something shady, I think there's only something to work with every song. Even if I don't like it, like you said, I think there's something there, and sometimes it's good to put it in different light. But I think so many people are focused on doing things the right way in music, which I am subject to. I was at conflict with myself about how I put stuff out, but I think I listen to albums. I'm going to put out records. Everyone's saying you should split these songs into 2 EPs. You put 2 EPs out. Everyone's telling me that's a smarter way to do it, but I was like, listen, I'm putting out an album. It's going to be a full-length album. It's 43 minutes. It's a full length. I'm not compromising on that. People are like, you never get signed. Put it out as like 2 EPs. I'm like, no, man. It's an album. It's the full story. This can't be 2 parts. I'm not going to do a Netflix thing where I split, or like, Hunger Games. I'm not going to split it in 2 things. It's one cohesive piece of work. Next record will be the sequel. Maybe I'll do a prequel. We'll do some Star Wars stuff going on. But it's all going to be a story that's based on like, my life told in a different light.
I listen again. Respect as your fellow brother. Respect. That's. I like I said, gotta respect the double down on that. But the next question I have for you, James, another fun one. What is your favorite food to eat?
Oh, dude, some people like eat to live. Some people live to eat. I live to eat. I love food, man. And I can honestly say there's not a single thing that's edible that I've eaten that I have been like grossed out by. I love food. My girlfriend, she likes to cook. She got me really into curry. She loves like buttered chicken, which I've been vibing with.
Yeah.
But I think, I was raised by Italians. I think pasta is my favorite, man. I love all sorts of pasta. Not like I like fresh pasta, man.
I got you. The any kind of pasta. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about exactly, man.
Talk with your hands,
You're from Jersey, man. You know what's up.
Oh yeah, baby. We know. You talk with your hands. That's what you do.
How many Koreans from Jersey you met that were raised by Italians?
Well, funnily enough, I'll spill the beans to you. People probably know about this, but I am adopted, so I was also raised by white people.
Oh my god, man.
We are brothers. Crazy. Oh my god.
I have to ask, were you adopted by an agency called Halt?
I was.
No dude, joke. So was I, dude. Oh,
we're brothers. We probably
that's crazy.
Honestly, we probably had met and didn't even know it, and I think that's more.
That's crazy. I have to ask, have you ever been to Holt camp?
Oh man, let me think. Did I go to Holt camp? I don't think I did. I think we had done a bunch of stuff, like 2 people I grew up with, and we kind of fell apart. But we all, like, her parents and my other friend's parents, like, they both adopted. They both had adoptees, and then we all hung out together. So we did do like like lunches or whatever, like like the picnics and stuff like that, but nothing too crazy. The only thing crazy we did was we went to Korea.
That's awesome.
Which it's been a very long time since I've been back to the homeland, but yeah, it was cool. So that
dude, that's crazy, man. Like we honestly probably could have crossed paths because like my family, like I will say, my brother and sister who are adopted from different families, they handled it a lot differently. But for me, I don't know what it was. I always felt too American to go back to Korea, but too like Korean to really fit in here. So whole camp, that like meeting those people, it really like people like you helped make me feel not so alone for a while. So it's beautiful to hear, man. And it's happy to meet a fellow whole adoptee because I don't run into this much now that I'm older.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I honestly, like, the coolest thing, I'll give a shout out to my homie KJ. He's I believe he still lives in Texas, if I'm not mistaken, but he invited me on his podcast and we talked about my like adoption thing. So maybe I'll have to message him on behalf of you to have him on to talk. But like we were talking about my like whole adoption story and it was crazy. So to hear that we were both from Holt, we both live in Jersey, both Korean. Too much. This we could have been
we like albums, like Circus Revive. We were best friends, man. Like I don't know why we're hanging out.
Let's do it, James. We're brothers now. We're
no, man. That's honestly like this turned out way better. This interview, I was a little nervous, but man, it was beautiful just to like be able to find someone I connect with on that level. Because like I said, you don't meet a lot of you know, people with a very similar story. So it's really cool to hear.
Also from New Jersey. I think that's what threw me like that. I think that's what broke me personally in my head. Like my head is like currently just, you know, there's just a bunch of smoke pouring out of my head right now. But I think the fact that we're both from New Jersey, we're both from adoptive families, and, you know, obviously we're both involved in the music scene to some degree. Just mind blown. It blows me away, man. So that's cool.
Oh man, when I come to PA, man, we're going out for, like, I don't know if you drink. We're going out for a drink or a juice box or pizza. Baby. We'll go out to Philly. We'll get some Philly pizza or Philly cheesesteak. Back to food. I like cheesesteaks too. Philly cheesesteaks. No matter where I am in Virginia, people will say they had a good steak and cheese or cheesesteak. It's just not the same as my place, Jim's on South Street. It's like my favorite place in the world.
Oh, okay. Your Jim's South. I appreciate that, honestly.
Yeah, man. I'm a South Street boy, man. Like, you know, everything from Philly, like the Wonder Years, like Circus Survive, all those bands, the TLA, the Neighborhood, Philadelphia Flyers, the Eagles, all that shit is, like, you know, in my blood.
There we go. Respect, you know. But yes, I agree. I'm huge. The cheesesteaks here, chef's kiss, you know. But I gotta resonate with you being also from New Jersey, like the pasta, Italian food, unmatched. I literally said this the last interview I did with shout outs to Bad Luck. They're from Long Island. But we were talking about how, like, pizza is unmatched here in, like, the Northeast. I'll fight anybody. You can't get a good, like, you get a good slice, you know, from your local shop, you know, you can't beat it. Like,
not like Domino's.
I couldn't go to California and get me a good slice like that, you know. So you know, that's,
you get tacos. You go to California, you get street tacos. You come here, you get pizza. Like, I like Chicago deep dish too, but, you know, I need a flop. I need that, like, Barstool pizza, like a little bit of flop kind of like slice.
I got you. Yeah, it's got, like, I think it's just unmatched. Like, when people tell me, you're like, man, I found this really great pizza spot in, like, Montana. I'm like, nope, not it. Sorry, like, you.
Oh, damn, man.
Good for you. You enjoy it, but, you know, I you know, if I was to ever move out of the state, like out at the Northeast, like, I would always have to come back here and get myself a nice New York slice or whatever. You know, that's just honest. So,
or the beach pizza, man. Like, you know, Maco's, and, you know, at the Jersey Shore, man. That's like so many fun times to that, and, like, the, you know, Thrasher fries. I'm missing Jersey now, man. I never thought I'd say that again.
Well, whenever you come back, we'll have to meet up. But
yeah, absolutely, man.
The next question I have for you, James, is another fun one, music related, of course. If you could pick somebody to have, like, a dream collaboration with, whether it be a guest feature on your an up and coming to Michigan with Love record, or a producer you'd like to work with, who would it be?
Okay, so to represent the Asian community, William Yip to work with for producing, because you know, Title Fight, Balance, Circa, love all that stuff. I feel like I've talked about Anthony Green a little too much. I would say, if you asked me a couple years ago, it would have been Chris Connolly from Saves the Day.
Ooh.
I have a Saves the Day tattoo in Reverie right here on my forearm.
Hell yeah.
You know, I think it would be Joey from Indian Lakes. I think like Alive.
Yeah,
I would love to write a song with that dude. Dead. If I could go back in time, man, like I said, David Bowie would be a big one, or like Lou Reed, like, you know, Velvet Underground, nice. Fleetwood Mac, like something like that would be like, if I could go back in time, I'd love to be Fleetwood Mac.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah, Dan. I've been listening. I listened to Landslide like 20 times today at work. I was just like by myself in the office. I just put on Landslide. So my phone's broken. It's doing the ghost screen, right? So I can't really do anything on it. So it kept replaying the song. So I just sat in my AirPods and listened to Landslide by Fleetwood Mac like 20 times today. And I was like, I'm covering the song next. This is going to be one of the shows.
Well, it might have been fate, honestly, to be fair. So that's so cool. But, yeah, I gotta give it. I also love that Will Yip, because, like, where I'm located at in Pennsylvania, he's like, his studio is like, I would say roughly like 20 to 40 minutes, like 20 to 30 minutes away from where I live currently. And I'm like, yo, that's so close. Like, Will Yip is like in my backyard. That's great. So, Will Yip, if you watch this, like, first of all, record my man James, and secondly, come on the channel because as a fellow Asian, I would love to have you on the chat and talk about your stuff.
That guy is like, I don't think I really cared too much about producing when I was younger, like the producers itself. Now it's like all I think about. I look up and I listen now. I'm like, yeah, it was that guy. But Will Yip to me was like, one, seeing his studio on like YouTube was beautiful, knowing he worked for like Cirque Survive. But just seeing how he works, I think he really understands modern day recording, but loves rock and roll. He loves like the organic, like keep it real kind of vibe, which is important to me to be like, real as you can be with like the music, because like a bad take could be something great if you do it enough times. And I think he really like understands that, and that's why he's been like a dream producer to work with for me.
Yeah, he's got that, I didn't really like, I love his music, and obviously I love the production work he's done on a lot of probably some of my favorite records, but I didn't really put it all together until I watched Movements, which are one of my favorite bands. They did that live in the studio, and I was just like,
they did Helicopter, or they did a Black Party song, right?
Yeah, it was Helicopter. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. That was sick. I love Movements, man.
Yeah, they're awesome. and when I watched him do it like live in the studio and like little clips and stuff, I was just like, you don't really get to understand like that natural sound until like you watch something like that and you hear it like on some like headphones and stuff, where you're like, oh my god, the record that the records he's done for Movements are great and I love them, but like when you take it into like a live context where it's like something like that, where you're listening to it and watching it and stuff like that, it's just more of an immersive experience, and it has more of a natural like kind of, I don't want to say boom because that's not the right word, but it just has like this natural kind of reverberation to like the sound, where you're just like, man, like if I just close my eyes, I could imagine myself being in like that studio and just like kind of like just being a civilian and listening to it and just like enjoying it. So he just does a great job with sound, so I gotta give a kudos to Will because he's killing it.
He definitely like has like, he's a part of the band on each record, which I really appreciate. I actually had the same kind of thought as you watching his Movements videos, where I was like, I feel like he just really like becomes a part of like, I think he could have his own sound. I think if he just expanded a little more, he could be like that big producer where everyone's like, that's a Will Yip record.
Yeah.
Kind of like, yeah. And I respect the work obviously, but yeah, Movements, that blew me away, honestly, those YouTube videos I saw. I actually watched them for the first time a week ago, and I was like, damn, they're so solid live.
Yeah, and the records, I love them. I have both of them on vinyl, and I have to get the live one, and I probably have a couple singles I have to still grab, but they're one of my favorite bands. Would love to. I've talked to Patrick, their vocalist, a couple times, and fingers crossed.
Yeah, man.
I know they're playing Philly to start off their headliner, so I'm hoping I can get him on the channel to talk, because he's awesome. But
oh man, that'd be rad. I would be queuing in line to watch that interview.
Well, thank you. But the next question I have for you, James. Also, I want to preface that I'm a big Manifestation guy. So guys, if you want to hear Will Yip on a James Taylor original band song, go on Twitter. Type in To Michigan With Love, or whatever his Twitter handle is, at Will Yip. I'm pretty sure he has a Twitter, type collab, I think that, I believe in that. I believe in that power of the internet. So let's
get Pat from Movements on a podcast, my boy.
Woo! Thank you. But the next question I have for you, James, obviously you do a lot of the like songwriting, and like you play guitar, you do vocals, probably do a whole host of other things, but if there was another musical instrument you could master, what would it be?
Oh man, so I picked up the harmonica over COVID.
What?
My girlfriend got me one harmonica for my favorite song on the record. It's called Kaylee. It's probably the most emotional song. I have a version of it where I do a harmonica solo instead of a guitar solo.
What? Oh my god.
She got me that for like a show we played in September. And then she bought me a bigger set of like basically every key of harmonicas. So like when no one's home, I'm jamming along to Bob Dylan playing harmonicas. If it wasn't for that though, trumpet. I have some like MIDI trumpets in the record, but I think trumpets can add. I listened to Neutral Milk Hotel once when I was younger, and think that trumpet should be in every single album ever.
That's cool. I like that. as someone who kind of grew up around
ska,
especially not ska. So when I first started taking guitar lessons, my guitar teachers both were really into jazz, and we went to like Berkeley, and they learned how to play music and all that sort of stuff. So they always showed me jazz, and like obviously there's like good, there could be strings, there can be trumpets, those sorts of sections. And so I at first was as being a rock guide, I was like, I'm not about this, like jazz, not I'm not touching that. But then now I'm like really into the vibe of jazz. So I feel like that's part of my life now. So I would love to hear live trumpet on an up and coming To Michigan with Love record. I feel like that'd be kind of wild.
Oh, one day, man, because I'm getting a little bit of a bonus soon, and I might just buy a trumpet. We'll see. We get away with like light drums out, like practicing like light drums. I'm playing guitar till like 2 a.m. They can deal with the trumpet. The neighbors have already. They know what their neighbor is.
They know what they signed up for. The next question I have for you, James, my personal favorite. As I mentioned earlier, I'm a huge nerd, as you can tell on my desk here. But if you could be a video game character, who would you be?
All right, man. Well, I see the Blastoids right there. You probably saw my name. I'm a big Quagsire fan. My favorite Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
I'd probably say I'd want to be either in the Pokemon world or honestly, I think the greatest game ever made is Minecraft. I got hooked on Minecraft recently, dude. My girlfriend and we have a server. I have some friends in there. It's called Quag City. I have like Quagsire's faces all around there. But I got like just hooked on Minecraft, and I think it's a game where I could probably play forever and never get bored.
That's respect. I like that. And also, I got to give you a shout out because I do like that, huge Quagsire. Whooper is also another fantastic, Pokemon design. Who can't love, a good Whooper meme where, he's just got the big grin on his face and everybody's like, the one that I think about the most, and I'll put it on the screen, is the one where he's like smiling and everybody's drowning and he's the one that's got
yeah, I love that one, dude. That was my phone background for a bit.
that's peak comedy. But I would show you, I have literally so in my office here, I have a bunch of cats, like cats and kittens. Long story, won't divulge in this podcast, but basically I have a bunch of Pokemon Funko Pops behind my computer, and then I have some on top here. I'll just show one. I have
nice. So you're a Gen 1 kid, aren't you?
You know what? I am actually a Gen 2 fan. Gen 2 is my arguably my favorite of the series. I will die on that hill. I don't care what anybody else says. That's the GOAT is Gen 2. But I went back after playing Gen 2 to Gen 1. Love Gen 1. Love Gen 3. I think when it kind of like starts to become like a little bit like I don't know, is like Gen 5 and beyond. I still love them as being as Pokemon stan, but I'm more Gen 2, Gen 3 kind of guy. That's my vibe right there. What about you, James?
I urge you to do Black and White and Black and White 2 again, because those games are beautiful.
I have Black and White on DS. I have to get Black and White 2 again, just for because I don't have it, or I misplaced it or something. But I got to go back and play it. And then big shout outs to my cousin Matt. He gifted me Brilliant Diamond on the Switch, so I have to go back and play that because I have really been slacking.
No, I get you, man. I would say it fluctuates for me, though, between the first 4, but I think I've probably spent the most time in Hoenn. I played a lot of Gen 3. That was the first game I ever nuzlocked back in the day. Woo! When like nuzlocking was new.
Yeah.
And then I love the remakes. I think they're great. I think people that are like nitpicking them are stupid because they're fun. They're nostalgic but also new. I like the Mega Evolution gimmick.
I do.
And I like the idea of Hoenn. Like just like I like going underwater. I think it's one of the games where you explore the most. But it's tied with Gen 4, I think, because I love Gen 4.
Oh, okay.
But I also love Gen 4 because I love what they did with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I love like the Gen 2 remakes.
Yeah.
So,
I love the Gen 2 remakes. Funnily enough, I tried to nuzlocke Gen 2 on Twitch, and I couldn't get past Whitney because my team was just fucked up. But I am poised to do it again, and I will be back to doing streaming at some capacity to, you know, nuzlocke my way through. I want to nuzlocke my way through all of the generations of Pokemon, because I feel like
I started doing that a month ago, man. I kind of stopped. I started Gen 2. I did a on Quack Kai. Well, now I think it's the official United Nations. This is my Twitch channel right now. I don't know why. I just like randomly changed my name, but I started doing Red, and that game is so broken. I don't know how people play. Like, I love that game, but that game is like just so broken. But I got to Sabrina. I'm pretty sure I got wiped by her Alakazam, and I was like, "This is I'm done with that."
I'm just gonna leave him here now. As no, can't do that.
He took down. Oh man, I was naming. So I'm a big JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fan.
Ooh,
I think that's the greatest anime ever. I got the posters up there if you can see them.
I did see some JoJo up there. I was like, okay, a man of taste, you know.
Yeah, but I was naming my Pokemon after, like, you know, like bands and songs and stuff, kind of like JoJo's. And I had a Venusaur named Landslide from Fleetwood Mac, and then I had a Beedrill. I had a Beedrill just called Sting, obviously, for various reasons.
Yeah.
And they were like, they carried me through. I had a Eradicate named Super Heaven. You probably know Super Heaven, right?
Yeah, I do, of course.
Yeah, so they were like my three mains. They were like carrying me through. Got wiped by Alakazam, and then I was like, yeah, sorry, Twitch, I'm not doing this again. That was hell.
I feel like if I was gonna do it, I would just have to do like Fire Red and Leaf Green. You know, that would be. I don't think I could actually do like the original Gen 1. You know, like the like Red.
Well, I won a Switch from work, so
oh, very cool.
I don't have a Switch. I won one. I don't have it yet, but it's coming. So I was like, I want to play Arceus because I heard it's great, and I want to play the Diamond Pro remakes. So I was like, I want to get back into streaming. Let me try to, you know, go all the way from the top, and that lasted until Sabrina.
I will say, loved Arceus. Like, if you're a Pokemon fan, peak.
I watched people play Arceus, man, and it looks awesome.
It is good.
I saw the Paris memes of Paris just like flooding.
Yes. Oh my god. But it's so much fun. I beat it, but I have some stuff I still have to complete in the game. But man, it was fun. It's a fun vibe. I have to go back to do it. But like I said, the Diamond and Pearl remakes on the Switch are the thing that I need to tackle next, and I feel like I am gonna have to just nuzlocke it for myself to make it harder, because I always love doing that. You know, I feel like people are like, "Oh, Pokemon's so easy," and I'm like, "Well, you know, nuzlocke it then if it's that easy."
Yeah, I don't know, man. I heard Cynthia's pretty hard in this remake.
I know, but I feel like I got to. You know, I gotta be able to stretch my like metaphorical Pokemon limbs. You know, if I feel like I'm, you know, been so seasoned as a Pokemon like veteran, I need to be able to be like, I need to go for it, to go for the gusto, you know.
Dude, yeah, well, like, plug your Twitch channel, man, because I'm gonna all my friends, we love Pokemon, we love good Nuzlocke, so we're gonna be watching that.
It is just my YouTube channel, which is the same thing, very unoriginal. I'm trying to keep everything, because you know, obviously I'll be playing music while I'm streaming, but it is Audioaddictionmedia, the same thing as the channel. So thanks for watching in advance. But
you got a fan, man. I'll be there for all the Pokemon content you got.
Thank you, James. I appreciate it. As brothers, you know, much love. But the next question I have for you, James, if you were to compile a dream tour lineup that would include To Michigan with Love, who would be on it?
I got two of this. I got to plug my the local boys too. My best friend from back home named Anthony Barca. He is MIA from social media, but he has a project called Developments. He started playing guitar and singing in college, and like he just got so good so quick. He put out an album last year. It's incredible. Check that out. I would have to say my homie that my bandmates play with, Zach Benson. Incredible. Pop. This guy should be the biggest star in the world. He's got so much star power. And then my very good friends, the band called Pulses.
Yeah.
I love those guys. I don't know if they love me, but I love those guys. I think they have one of the most unique sounds in the Virginia scene. And then us, obviously. We'd be opening at this point, but like those three acts are like very crucial to why I think To Michigan Fluff has any sort of like following in Virginia. Pulse's Let's Play, like when honestly this project right before COVID, it was just an idea. I played ukulele, Tyler played drums, and my friend Ian played bass, and we played like Fall For You by Secondhand Serenade, and like the very early versions of songs from my album, like 2 of them we played with like me on a ukulele. I was trying to be Never Shout Never, I guess. But they gave us a chance. We weren't great, but they gave us a chance, and those guys, I love those guys with all my heart. Now if we're talking about, you know, like the bigger acts, you know, I think about this a lot. I think a show that we'd fit really well on like opening would be like Citizen. I think it's a big one.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, I have a hot take. I like a lot of these pop punk like bands. I like their singers' solo projects more than I think I like their band now. So Matt Karakees, like as a solo artist, is great. Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, the Wonder Years project, yes, and I think like Anthony Green. I think those 3 projects are very influential for the sound I'm going for. So that would be a dream lineup for me as well.
Ooh, all right. That is a very controversial take, but I respect it because I like both individual stuff. Like I've seen Aaron West and the Roaring Twenties, and I've also seen the Wonder Years, and I love both of them for completely 2 different reasons.
Completely different reasons, yeah. But I'm gravitating a lot towards Aaron West right now.
I could see that just based off of your sound, obviously listening to the single, and just, you know, obviously getting an idea of what your sound is. Like I could see it. Like you guys would fit, like I feel like that tour would fit very well with, you know, the sound you have currently, and, you know, obviously would be a big thing. So guys, you know, listen, I already talked to you about the manifestation thing, so if you want that to happen, do that. That's awesome. And then I also want to give a shout out to Pulses. I had them on mucho years ago, but they're always good homies, so I love talking to them. So big shout outs to Pulses. Listen, come back on. Love to have you back on again.
Oh man, I'll tell that let me tell you that Son of a Gun Caleb got me drunk as heck at the Zach Benson show a couple weeks ago, and they called me out because a long time ago I went to one of their shows, and I just passed my certification to basically be a car tech at Best Buy, and I sprained my wrist at their show the day I got certified, and I couldn't work. So then at the Zach show, I'm just, you know, mind my own business, get pushed in the pit, twist my ankle, and I'm like, whenever they're around, I always get hurt, and I don't know what it is, but they called me out on that. Then Caleb's like, yo, let's take some shots, and I just don't remember the rest of that night.
Caleb,
good times though. Those guys are awesome. Those guys in Pulses, some of the most genuine dudes. I've known Matt, they're the guitar player and screamer. I've known him for years at this point. I haven't talked to him in a bit, but Matt, if you hear this, I love you, man, and I miss you.
I love all the Pulses dudes. They're great. Kevin and I, you know, we're chatting it up about just like albums and stuff, like records, you know, buying vinyl and stuff. So I know he's got amassed a collection, you know, him and Caleb have, so I got to give him a shout. But yeah, Pulses, come on. I love the new track that they featured Zach Benson on. That was awesome too. So Zach Benson, watching this, come on too. Love to have you on. But yeah, they're great people. So, you know, anytime I can give them a shout, I'll do it. So big shout outs to Pulses. But the next question I have for you, James, kind of in the same lane, you know, who, in your opinion, in terms of the bands you've seen, who puts on a great live performance?
Oh man, I have a picture from Skate and Surf in like 2014 of me in these purple Hulk shirts, wearing a brand new shirt, crowd surfing to Circus Survive, and it was one of the greatest moments of my life. It was on like a newspaper too in Jersey. What? My mom like sent me a link on Facebook, and I was like, oh my god, I'm wearing these purple Hulk shorts, I look ridiculous. But I've seen Circa 1,000 times, but throwing back to it, I saw Foxing when I first moved to Virginia.
Ooh.
I didn't really have any friends yet, you know, I wasn't going to school at the moment, so I went to this abandoned church. I saw a flyer on Facebook for the show, and there were like 12 people there, and I saw this band Foxing, and I'm like, these guys are going to be the next big band. They put it on as if it was like the biggest show in the world. Years later, I saw them open for Circus Survive. Woo. And there's a moment I talk about all the time. I took my roommate, who's really into EDM and stuff. Like, he loves music, but he never heard of like Foxing or Circus Survive.
Sure, yeah.
We're you know, he's like, I'm vibing. Then during Inuit, people ran out on stage with kazoos, and did like the trumpet solo with kazoos, and it was one of the most beautiful moments I've ever seen in a show that I think will always top as one of my greatest memories of a concert of all time.
Oh, that's like, so sick.
I don't think I'll ever get that moment back. And then during Circus set, the lights went out, and Anthony Green's like, everyone fucking move. And the lights come back on, and you see the sax player and Connor from Foxing with trumpet doing like the solo of one of the songs from Descensus. And I was like, this is the greatest show I've ever seen. And it was just like a moment. That show, I'll never forget that show.
I feel that. That was kind of my experience seeing Circa at Starland. Like, I just obviously know they're very local to the area, and for whatever reason, like, I never had seen them, but then I decided to go out and see them at Starland when I lived in Jersey, and they were out with who were they out with? They were out with Thrice,
Balance and Sean.
Balance and Sean, yeah.
I was at that show, man. I went home to see that show.
This is yo, James, you're blowing my mind right now. This is wild. So I went to that show, and I was like, you know, I love Sean, I love Balance, Circa I love too, but I had never seen them, so I was like, yeah, I'll go check. You know, obviously seems like a sick lineup. Thrice I've always enjoyed, but I never saw them live, so I was just like, man, this is a tour I have to go to. Funnily enough, I went with Chris from Highwind, so we went together. And it was just awesome. Like, it was a great time. I didn't know how much I actually loved Thrice until I saw them live, and they fucking killed it. Like, they were awesome. And so I got to give them a big shout, as well as Balance. Like, I've seen Sean before that point. I had seen Sean, but like, Balance was so good, and I every day that they are not on this, you know, not a band collectively anymore, just makes my heart hurt. Because I feel like I really missed out on peak Balance, you know, and that hurts every time it hurts my soul. But, you know, it was good. It was good to experience them for that time period that I got to see them for, even if it was just a small period of time. Like, just a fantastic band that I feel like people like legitimately forgot about. I mean, there are some
dude, never. Balance in my heart. Like, my producer Joey, we love Balance.
I agree with you. For me, like, I'll never forget Balance and Composure, but I feel like there are certain people that have come up in the scene that are like not even familiar with Balance and Composure, and that hurts my soul. So please go check out Balance and Composure if you haven't.
I would say, like, there are, like, you know, a lot of, like, I guess the pop punk bands and like early, like, you know, kind of alternative. I think Balance and Composure and the band Have Mercy are two bands where, like, I was kind of like, I have a deeper voice, and I was kind of like, I've always tried to do my own thing. I never want to, like, copy anyone.
Sure.
But those two, I think definitely I heard John and then the singer of Have Mercy sing, and I was kind of like, I could kind of do this. I could, you know, kind of get my own spin on it. But I probably listened to, like, so much Have Mercy, so much Balance to kind of, like, try to sing, to get my chops a little better. So they were very influential in me learning how to sing.
I would agree. Like, you know, without you even mentioning it, I could kind of like pick, you know, in my head I was trying to think of the bands that you were like emulating in some way, you know, have the influence from, and so those were ones that I didn't really like put together, but now that like the pieces are connecting, I'm like, okay, I can see it now. Like, I can hear it, can vibe with it. But yeah, they're, again, two bands that are great. Still love seeing them, you know, wish that they would come back and do, you know, come out of retirement and do it. But, you know, I feel like every band, you get through that season of like not enjoying it, and then I'm hoping that they come back to do reunions and do that stuff.
It's not too late.
And that's not too late, you know. But yeah, no, they're awesome, and that is hilarious. Just another thing, James, that we were both at and didn't even realize it. So
small world, man. It's kind of crazy, because I thought for some reason I had like this in my head that you were going to be like in California. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. I just didn't know you were so close. I had no idea. I saw you interview local bands, so I assumed, I guess you were closer, but I just couldn't fathom that we have like a very similar
upbringing. We
literally
were like this close together. Yeah, that so wild.
I have one. Have you ever heard of a band called Grandview?
That sounds familiar.
You should listen to the album Everything Between the Paint and a Wall. I think it's one of the greatest albums ever made that no one knows about, that I showed my roommate, my producer, I showed Joey, and it's one of our favorite bands, and I think you will absolutely love them. And I had to shout them out because they put out a record and disappeared. but you should check that album out. I think you specifically would absolutely love it. Ooh. And I had to shout out the boys.
All right. I'll have to check Grandview out. I'm very excited. Grandview, come on, if you watch this.
I don't know, man. They might be like, they're probably all like on Wall Street now or something like that. Because I tried hunting and see if they had other projects, and they just disappeared off the face of the world. And it's the greatest band that could have been that never was.
I think that's the biggest sad, when you're like a band that you like. I feel like that was kind of me with Transit. Like, I've always loved Transit.
I love Transit.
Loved Transit, but I missed out on that bit. I missed out when they were just touring. You know, like it was a little bit before I got into the scene more heavily, and so yeah, Transit would be one band. If I wanted to take one band out of retirement, it would be Transit. Like, that would be one that I would like fully commit to, like die on that hill to get to, like, if I had to like sacrifice my body in order for Transit to be a band still, I would do it.
They were special live, man. I remember a Joyride, when that record came out. I went home to Jersey, and my buddy Ant, who was in developments, I didn't know he knew it, but I had my shitty Honda Civic, and we literally just drove around the town and grew up in listening to Joyride. So we made like, old memories with like a new album, and that record will be solidified to me as like one of the last great pop punk records of that time.
Big facts.
Like, love it. Listen Forgive came out when I was probably in like a sophomore in high school, and that record to me was like, I was like hearing like the diddles, and I'm like, pop punk but with like mathcore diddles. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was so that album is so influential to me, and like playing guitar and stuff. And so I recently, I would say within the past like 6 months, I picked it up on vinyl, and that was like probably one of the hardest records it took me to track down. And so I feel very vindicated that I actually have it in my collection, and I've played it multiple times, and I've cried multiple times. So I've
cried to that record more times than I like to admit, man.
It's so fucking good. Like, I love it. So I'm glad. Listen, we're already brothers. I already know the energy is there. So I won't further go into that. But the next thing I have for you, James, you did talk about it earlier, how much you're a big movie buff. So gotta ask the question: what is your favorite TV show, favorite movie?
All right, so I have like different answers for everything. For TV shows, two. There's this one TV show. It was a Canadian show. I found it on Netflix one day, and it's one of those things I showed all my friends, and we loved it ironically, but like unironically at the same time. It's called Lost and Found Music Studios. It's about these kids who it's off Netflix now, but it's about these kids who join this like after school music program. It's so unrealistic in every single way, but it was just like it was shot like The Office, like a mockumentary kind of thing. Okay. But it's these kids like playing playing music. They're like 15 to like 18. And I remember seeing this and laughing my ass off, because it's just like doesn't understand how the music industry actually works or anything like that. But I followed a bunch of them on like Twitter. The one main guy, he's like a rapper now on like SoundCloud, and he followed, like, as a joke, I tagged like my friends. I'm like, let's get him on a on a song. And he followed us all back, and I'm like, I messaged him like, yo, let's like do a song for just like the joke. But that show will have a special place in my heart as just like
so sick.
The meme. If I had to pick, I don't know, I guess probably Attack on Titan, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or Haiku. Ooh. Or like, I know generic like animes, but like Haiku got me into sports anime. I just watched a soccer anime that's coming out that I never thought I'd like, that I love. JoJo's is everything. The reason I love JoJo's is why I love Spider-Man 3. Tobey Maguire. I think Spider-Man 3 is an absolute masterpiece when you stop looking at it as serious and you look at it as like a comedy. Like, it's just like a funny movie. I think it's like the greatest movie. And same with JoJo's. It doesn't take itself seriously, but so serious, and I think it's genius.
I got you. I'm picking up the vibes. Go ahead.
Oh no, I just like I'm a pretty sad dude a lot of times, but I love things that are just so ironic, just so like ridiculous and absurd. I love absurdity. I love anything that just like would do whatever it wants. And for that, Attack on Titan blew my mind in a serious way, and then JoJo's blew my mind and just like it could be just whatever it wants to be.
Yeah, you know what, I'm probably gonna come out and people are gonna cancel me. I have seen JoJo like I've seen a couple episodes, but I haven't fully invested the time into JoJo. But I would love to. I'm probably gonna start watching JoJo soon. It's great. So I'll have to actually
the fans are the worst part, because I am one of those guys like you have to watch JoJo's, like you just have to like give it a season and you'll get it. And I hate being that person, but I'm that guy that's like animate JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I have a deck of cards. It's based on JoJo's characters. It's like some random like card game that I just bought on Amazon just because it was I just thought it was cool.
JoJo themed, yeah.
Yeah, but
I feel that. Man, I'm trying to think. Honestly, I watch a lot of like slice of life kind of anime. So I watched K-On! Is if you like music and you.
I've heard that's like the girls that like get guitars and stuff, right? I heard it's really good.
It's on point. I literally binge watched that, and you know it's such a wholesome anime. So I gotta give shout outs to that. And then I found out that Netflix is doing the weekly episodes of Komi Can't Communicate, and that one's great. I love that.
I heard that's good too. I'll have to check that out.
It is fire. It is fire. It's a little weird. There are some certain episodes where it's a little jank, but overall really good. So anybody that has some good anime recommendations, please drop them in the comments, because I'm always down to find a new series that I can enjoy.
Spy Family, that just came out. Spy Family, okay. It's so good.
All right.
It's it took me by surprise where I didn't know what it was going to be, but my roommate and I watched it every Sunday when it came, or every Sunday night after work we would get together and watch it, and I think it might be the next big anime, to be honest.
Ooh,
it's like slice of life, but it's like the characters are so good. They could be like in a room and just be talking, and I'll absolutely love it.
I'll have to start it. Because I've also been seeing a lot about Spy Family, so I'm gonna have to do my time and watch some of it, because it looks good from what I've seen.
The animation's pretty good. I made the mistake of trying to watch the English dubs with my girlfriend recently, and I'm like, okay, I get it, subs all the way.
It is. You got to. That's like that's the straight. I realized that with Squid Game, you can't watch the English dub. It is terrible. Like,
it takes away some of the magic, for sure.
It does. So I'll have to watch Spy Family, guys. Drop the comments. Let me know it's good. I would love
favorite animes.
Give me them. But the next question I have for you, James, if you're trapped on a desert island for the next month and there was one album you could bring with you to listen to, what album would that be?
One album I could listen to. Oh man, that's probably like one of the best questions you could ask, but I have to pick one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Duke Ellington I could probably listen to forever, talking about jazz.
Wow. All right.
Or like Dizzy Gillespie, like I love that stuff. That just puts me in a really euphoric mood.
Okay. I believe in you. I feel like you could.
All right, so I have to limit it to a couple. It would be In an Airplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel.
Ooh.
Enter the 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang Clan, or
another good one,
Kid A by Radiohead, and I think I might have to put Kid A from on Island, to be honest.
Wow. All right. Respect. Those are, again, 3 fantastic choices. Oh man, that's tough. I like those. Those were good.
What's your Island album?
Oh man. I'm gonna have to, funnily enough, because we're talking so much about Anthony Green, love Anthony Green. I'm gonna diverge from, because most people, when they say Seosin, they say Anthony Green. I'm a Cove fan. I love Cove. So I have to go with the Seosin self-titled that has gotten me through.
The Beatle record, man. So good. The Beatle
record that's been good. That got me through like so much of life's worst shit. So I have to say that record as just my, like, I think that I would argue that is one of my favorite records of all time. Definitely top 5 easy.
Top 10 for me, man. That record changed. Like, I'm an Anthony Green fanboy, but that record, tonally incredible, lyrically insane, and just like, who can listen to You're Not Alone and not just like want to cry with someone? Like, that song is so beautiful.
All the tears. So I would say that either one of the movements records, like either Feel Something or Nothing Left to Give, those were both fantastic. If I had to really deliberate on one, I'd probably say No Good Left to Give, because that was just fantastically put together by Will.
And they really pushed themselves, I think, that record. I think they didn't write another Daylily, but I think it's good. They really just put a really good cohesive piece with like the bass tones on that record are some of the best in that scene, in my opinion.
It's fire. It's so good. And like I think like the mix of like emo, it's got a little bit of indie, it's got a bit
some
of
hardcore,
a little bit of post-hardcore in there. Like it's just the perfect mix of all three of all three of those genres. And then I think it's just kind of, at least in my opinion personally, I think it's a step up from Feel Something. Like as much as I love the like real post-hardcore edge that Feel Something brought, I feel like they expanded way more lyrically and musically on Nothing Left to Give. So I gotta give that props.
I would say with artists, man, like instant like identity is important. Like that's why I love Anthony Green so much. And like I could listen to like just the tone, not even the voice, just like the guitar tones and know it's a movement song. And I think that's really special that we haven't had in a long time, where I think that band should be like bigger than life, to be honest.
I totally agree. Like I think they have just such a presence about them, and I gotta give them a lot of credit for that. But and then since you did 3, I'll do my last one. I feel like I have to go with like an OG, like as much as like I would love to go with like a modern record. I feel like I have to, the first record that I got into, because I grew up in a religious home, I have to say the first record that really brought me into like the alternative scene, really got me motivated to like want to be a part of it more, was August Burns Red's Constellations. That is by far the definition of a fantastic metalcore record from front to back. Every time I listen to that record, I get goosebumps. Is just peak metalcore. So I gotta that one.
I would say that is like metalcore to me. Like that record, I was like, oh, they're a Christian band. I was kind of, but I heard that when I was like, I think I was in middle school. I was really in Slipknot at the time, and I remember being like, this is it. This is like what like my first band was a metalcore band. And I owe that to August Burns Red, to be honest.
Yeah. So I gotta give big respect to them. I've met Matt Grainer funnily enough, I met him at an Angels and Airwaves show here in Philadelphia.
That's awesome.
And I almost thought for a second it wasn't him, but then I like doubled down. I was like, no, that's gotta be him. Like my music knowledge kicked in and I knew it was him. But I talked to him and I was just like, listen, I was like, I'm sure you get this a lot, but like Constellations really changed my life, and you know, I wouldn't be doing like interviewing bands and being a part of the scene as much as I have been because of your band. So, you know, I want to give you shout outs because like I didn't want to keep his time because he was with his, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his wife, I'm not entirely sure, but like I didn't want to keep them because they were enjoying the show, so I didn't want to be like, oh my god, fanboy in front of, you know, Matt. But no, he was, what a lovely guy, and he was just like, you know, thank you so much. Like they're very again probably some of the most humble dudes that I've met doing this, and so I gotta give them Matt a big shout out, first of all, and just that record in general. Oh, so good.
Oh yeah. Dude, I love that band. I love how, for the most part, they look like office dads, like playing like shows, and I think it's just like, come as you are, man. You like what you like, and like, I remember I saw him for the first time, and like the one guitar player, he looked like he was like from The Office, like the show. Yeah. And I'm like, I love this. These guys are badass.
And then the one JB just wears like flip flops, so there's like a constant joke about that band is that he wears that. Like I got to give respect to them because they keep very true to what they know. So I gotta like that.
And you come as you are, man. Like they make brutal music, but they have a message they want to portray, and they just do. You know, they're just August Burns Red. So much props to that.
So yeah, that would round out my list here. But yeah, great. You had some great picks, so I gotta give you props, James. But the last thing I've been asking to a lot of people that I've been having on here recently, you know, guys, if you made it through to the entire interview, I really do appreciate it. Please go check out To Michigan with Love. Certainly, I'll leave all the links below. But James, like, what do you want people to take away from your band, your music? You obviously have a new album coming out in the fall. Like, what do you want people to know about you, and you know what your band's about? I know that's a very weighted and a large question. I feel like, you know, it's important to kind of talk about those things because, you know, like that's what makes me want to, you know, be more involved with what you do. So, you know, tell the people, you know, why you're about this, why you're doing it, and you know, that shit.
Oh, cool, man. I mean, music's like it's there's a lot. I was a lonely dude growing up. I was a kind of class clown at times. I didn't really know where I fit in, and I didn't really feel like I belonged anywhere. But I remember like I had a friend that passed away when I was young, and he gave me a bunch of records. He gave me like We the Kings. He gave me Blink-182. He gave me Circus Survive.
Yeah,
And I remember having a Walkman in English class in like 7th grade and listening to or 8th grade and listening to On Letting Go by Circa, and just I didn't feel alone. I just felt like everything kind of made some sense to me. And then I started listening to like the Beatles and like Led Zeppelin and like rap music, and just there's so much out there. I think that it breaks my heart I won't be able to hear all the music in the world, because it's just there's so much stuff, good, bad, and I just love it all, man. So I was talking about that band Grandview, and I think the one thing I love about that band is, even though they ended up not being like the biggest band in the world, I don't know anyone that really knows that band, like, because they were so small, but my friends and I, we think it's one of the greatest albums ever made, and it really does a lot for us. It makes me feel, it really inspires me. It makes me feel less alone. And if I could just do that to someone with an album, if someone could hear my album and just have a conversation with me through that music,
sure, yeah,
I won. I did what I set out to do. I hopefully inspired, maybe made someone feel, bad in a way. Maybe they can put themselves in my shoes. A lot of it's about some addiction I've overcome, depression, but also a lot of it, at the core of it, the album's called Sleep Until Summer. First, you're going to hear first here. It's called Sleep Until Summer. It's just about, depression, but it's about, waking up and realizing there's more. And I'm hoping that, every day people keep going on, you keep doing what you can do. And hopefully my music can help you through that. If not my music, hopefully someone else's music.
Yeah.
But people that don't like music blow my mind, because I don't know how I'd be able to cope with anything without some songs every day.
As I feel like people kind of at this point, hopefully, know my story about, like, music changed my life. And, I've kind of probably similarly to you, where, you find that your identity is different from other people, and people look at you a different way and stuff like that. And I felt like growing up with music and being a part of the music scene like that really helped me stay grounded and kept me to where I'm at now, and obviously interviewing bands, and that's something that I'm very passionate about, and I probably won't ever stop doing, just because it brings me a lot of joy. And it also, like, there's always bands, like you said, I'm probably in the same boat as you, James, where I'm gonna be sad because I can't listen to everything in existence, but that's just how it is. But it for me, like, I respect that your motives or your ideology with what you do, to Michigan with love, is that you want to be able to help people out. And I kind of find a lot of solace in that, and as well as, like, same thing with doing this channel. Like, I want people to be able to find bands that they connect with and have a community. And I know we talked about that earlier, but, like, being able to grow with someone and knowing that, like, if you do have problems or you do have struggles, like, there are people out there that want to be there to listen to you or talk to you about it or whatever it may be. And so I gotta give you a lot of respect for that, because I feel like artists obviously, like, take a lot, especially within this scene, take a lot of care and honesty into writing what they do, certainly, but I feel like it should never be understated that that's what it is. I think that it's important that there are bands out there that really write from the heart. And so obviously I hope everybody checks your band out and really delves into your music, and hopefully it builds you a really great community of people that care about what you do. And obviously I'm gonna be on that team here, so
oh man, I appreciate that.
Respect. So I gotta give you a shout for hitting me up about this, because this turned out, not that none of the people that message me don't turn out great, but this turned out better than I could have ever imagined. So
oh man, I can't believe we've been talking almost 2 hours, man. It feels like it's been like 20 minutes, and I feel like I've known you for a lot longer than I've known you for.
It's just we are brotherly now. But the last thing, James, the most important thing, listen, tell the people where they can find you at on social media, what you have coming up in the up and coming future, and anything else you want to plug, talk about, things of that nature.
Oh yeah, man. Okay, so it's To Michigan with Love, so you can probably type in and find it. It should be 2mi_with love on Twitter, because Twitter, you gotta shorten some stuff up. My album I'm gonna put out 2 more singles. One of them is gonna be a song called Kaylee, which is one of my favorite songs I've ever written. The album's gonna be called Sleep Until Summer. It's gonna be part 1 of a concept of 2 other records I have, so it's kind of like a trilogy thing. And this record's all about kind of letting go, but also looking forward to the future and not letting things hold you back, and I hope it inspires you all. There's a song called the Last Great Rain Dance of Grand Rapids, and I think if you liked the first song, you'll love this song. I hope you cry from it, because I cried writing it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, just last shout out, my girlfriend, she put out a song. Her name's Ashley Bangs on streaming services. She's inspired me this year to really keep going, and I honestly would not be doing music right now without her. So
big shout outs to Ashley. Also, come on if you want to come on. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll send her along the way, man. She would love to.
I figured I'd ask already, but please go check out To Michigan with Love. You already know he's Anthony Green certified, so you already know he's peak shit here on the channel. So please go check out To Michigan with Love. All the links will be below, so please go follow him on Twitter, Instagram. Go give him a follow on Spotify, to keep up to date with his most current releases. And if you enjoyed this interview, share, like, and subscribe. Goes a long way. I feel very weird asking this every time, but I've been doing this shit for 6 years, so I imagine I'm probably gonna have to continue to ask for it until I'm like, a YouTube celebrity. So I appreciate you guys for watching, and even bigger thanks to James for coming on and chatting with me.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure.